I once believed I had built the perfect life with the perfect woman. For 7 years, my wife Amanda and I created what I thought was a beautiful marriage filled with love and two amazing children. I devoted everything to our family, working hard to provide the stability and love they deserved. Then one night during an argument I never saw coming, Amanda looked me straight in the eyes and said the words that shattered my world. "You are nothing more than a co-parent to me, not my real match." If you have ever felt the sting of rejection from someone you love, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. This is how I reclaimed my life. When I think back to the beginning of our story, everything seems so perfect. I was a hardworking software developer in Seattle, building my career and enjoying the independence of my late 20s. The rainy Seattle nights never bothered me much. I had good friends, a nice apartment downtown, and enough disposable income to enjoy weekend trips to the mountains or the occasional concert. That all changed 9 years ago when my college buddy Thomas invited me to his housewarming party. I almost skipped it because of a deadline at work, but something told me to go. That something turned out to be Amanda. She walked into the kitchen where I was helping mix drinks, her laugh reaching me before I even saw her. I had good friends, a nice apartment downtown, and enough disposable income to enjoy weekend trips to the mountains or the occasional concert. That all changed 9 years ago when my college buddy Thomas invited me to his housewarming party. I almost skipped it because of a deadline at work, but something told me to go. That something turned out to be Amanda. She walked into the kitchen where I was helping mix drinks, her laugh reaching me before I even saw her. What followed was a whirlwind romance. We hiked Mount Rainier together, spent weekends exploring small coastal towns, and stayed up late talking about our dreams. Amanda wanted to eventually lead her own marketing agency. I dreamed of creating software that would help people connect in meaningful ways. We both wanted a family, a home with a yard big enough for a dog, and summers filled with barbecues and laughter. If you have ever felt the sting of rejection from someone you love, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. This is how I reclaimed my life. When I think back to the beginning of our story, everything seems so perfect. I was a hardworking software developer in Seattle, building my career and enjoying the independence of my late 20s. The rainy Seattle nights never bothered me much. If you have ever felt the sting of rejection from someone you love, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. This is how I reclaimed my life. When I think back to the beginning of our story, everything seems so perfect. I was a hardworking software developer in Seattle, building my career and enjoying the independence of my late 20s. The rainy Seattle nights never bothered me much. Our house in the suburbs was filled with the chaos of toys, children's books, and the endless energy of our growing family. Every morning, I would make breakfast for everyone before heading to work, and every evening we would have dinner together, no matter how busy our days had been. Amanda took a year off after each child was born before returning to her career. We juggled childcare and work schedules, supporting each other through the madness of early parenthood. I thought we were a team stronger together than apart. For the first 5 years of our marriage, that seemed true. The subtle changes began about a year ago. I had taken on more responsibility at work, leading a new project that required longer hours temporarily. Amanda had also been promoted to senior marketing director, which came with more travel and client dinners. Our once sacred family dinners became less frequent. Date nights, which we had maintained even through the chaos of having 2 small children, dwindled to maybe once a month. I noticed Amanda checking her phone more, smiling at messages that she would quickly hide if I walked by. She started changing her appearance subtly, at first new clothes, a different hairstyle, working out more intensely. I admired her dedication to fitness and her career, never suspecting these changes might signal something else entirely. When I tried to reconnect, planning surprise date nights or bringing home her favorite flowers, Amanda seemed distracted, almost annoyed by my efforts. We stopped holding hands while watching television. Our conversations became purely logistical, focused on the children's schedules and household needs. I worried about the distance growing between us, but chalked it up to the natural evolution of a marriage with young children. We were just busy, stressed, tired. Things would get better when work calmed down, when the kids were older, when we could take that vacation we kept postponing. I was wrong. As months passed, the gulf between Amanda and me widened. She started spending more evenings away from home, explaining she needed space to decompress and find herself again outside of being a mother and wife. I supported her, believing everyone deserves time for themselves. I took on even more childcare responsibilities, often handling bedtime routines solo and rearranging my work schedule to accommodate school pickups when Amanda was unavailable. Her new social circle consisted mostly of coworkers I had never met. There were happy hours that extended well into the night weekend brunches. I was not invited to join and work events that suddenly required overnight stays when they never had before. I tried not to be suspicious, but doubt crept in like a slow poison. One evening, while Amanda was showering, her phone lit up with a message on the kitchen counter. I had never been the type to snoop, but the name Brian flashed on the screen with a message preview that made my stomach drop. I cannot stop thinking about yesterday. You are incredible in every way. When Amanda emerged from the shower, I confronted her as calmly as I could. Who was Brian? What had happened yesterday? Amanda instantly became defensive, accusing me of invading her privacy. She claimed Brian was just a new client who appreciated her marketing presentation. When I asked to see the full message thread, she refused, snatching her phone and locking herself in our bedroom. That night, sleeping on the couch, I wrestled with possibilities. Was my wife having an affair? Was our marriage over without me realizing it? The next morning, Amanda acted as if nothing had happened, kissing me quickly on the cheek before rushing off to work. I suggested marriage counseling that evening, laying out my concerns about our growing distance. Amanda laughed, not with humor but with dismissal. We do not need a stranger telling us how to live our lives, Devin. I am just busy with work, and you are being paranoid. But the criticism started coming more frequently after that. My cooking was suddenly not up to her standards. My parenting decisions were questioned in front of the children. My career, which had always been stable and successful, was now described as lacking ambition compared to her more dynamic industry. Every comment chipped away at my confidence and security in our relationship. The breaking point came when Amanda missed Lily's dance recital. Date nights, which we had maintained even through the chaos of having two small children, dwindled to maybe once a month. I noticed Amanda checking her phone more, smiling at messages that she would quickly hide if I walked by. She started changing her appearance subtly, at first new clothes, a different hairstyle, working out more intensely. I admired her dedication to fitness and her career, never suspecting these changes might signal something else entirely. Lily had cried herself to sleep, clutching the bouquet of flowers I had brought her, asking repeatedly why Mommy did not come to see her dance. My sadness had crystallized into anger by the time Amanda walked through the door. How could you miss this? She worked so hard and you promised her, I said, keeping my voice low to avoid waking the children. Amanda rolled her eyes. It is just a kindergarten dance recital, Devin. There will be others. I had something important come up. More important than your daughter, than your family. What is happening to us, Amanda? I feel like I am losing you, and I do not even understand why. If there is someone else, just be honest with me. Something broke in Amanda, then a dam of frustration bursting forth. You want honesty. Fine. I am suffocating here, Devin. This suburban life, the routine, the predictability of you are nothing more than a co-parent to me, not my real match. I took on even more childcare responsibilities, often handling bedtime routines solo and rearranging my work schedule to accommodate school pickups when Amanda was unavailable. Her new social circle consisted mostly of coworkers I had never met. There were happy hours that extended well into the night weekend brunches. I was not invited to join and work events that suddenly required overnight stays when they never had before. I have been trying to make this work for the kids, but I cannot pretend anymore. I stood there unable to speak as the foundation of my life crumbled around me. The woman I had built a life with, had children with, had just confirmed my worst fears and added new ones I had not even considered. I had not just been betrayed. I had been a placeholder all along, someone she had settled for. I spent that night sitting on our back porch, staring at nothing, replaying years of memories and wondering which ones had been genuine. Had she ever truly loved me? Was our entire marriage a compromise on her part. The questions tortured me until dawn broke over our quiet neighborhood. As the first light touched our carefully tended garden, something inside me shifted. If Amanda saw me as nothing more than a co-parent, not her true match, then that was exactly what I would become. No more emotional investment in someone who viewed me as insufficient. No more trying to save a relationship that had apparently been doomed from the start. By the time I walked back into the house to start breakfast for the children, my decision was made. I would protect myself and my children with the same dedication I had given to our marriage. But Amanda would never again have access to my heart. The transformation did not happen overnight. I needed a strategy, not just an emotional reaction. That afternoon, while Amanda was at work, I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. I needed to understand my options before making any permanent decisions. The attorney advised me to document everything: my involvement with the children, any inappropriate behavior from Amanda, and all financial transactions. I opened a separate bank account and transferred a reasonable portion of our savings into it. Was my wife having an affair? Was our marriage over without me realizing it? The next morning, Amanda acted as if nothing had happened, kissing me quickly on the cheek before rushing off to work. I suggested marriage counseling that evening, laying out my concerns about our growing distance. Amanda laughed, not with humor but with dismissal. "We do not need a stranger telling us how to live our lives, Devin. I am just busy with work, and you are being paranoid." Our interactions became businesslike, focused solely on scheduling and childcare. "Jackson has a doctor's appointment Tuesday at 3. Can you take him, or should I reschedule?" No terms of endearment. No unnecessary words. Just the essential information. "Lily needs a new lunchbox. I will pick one up tomorrow." Not asking for input or approval, simply informing. Amanda seemed relieved at first by my emotional withdrawal. She came home even later, spent more weekends away, and barely noticed, as I methodically removed my personal items from our bedroom and established myself in the guest room. "The bed in here is better for my back," I explained simply when she finally questioned it. She did not argue. I created a co-parenting schedule and shared it with her via email, dividing responsibilities evenly. "Since we are co-parents first and foremost," I wrote in the email, "I thought a clear schedule would help us both." Again, she raised no objections. While maintaining absolute dedication to Lily and Jackson, I began rebuilding myself. I joined a gym, not out of vanity, but as an outlet for the anger and pain that threatened to consume me. I reconnected with friends. I had neglected, careful never to disparage Amanda, but making it clear that things at home had changed. I found a therapist who specialized in emotional trauma and marital betrayal. Dr. Russell helped me understand that Amanda's cruel words reflected her issues, not my worth. Through weekly sessions, I began to recognize my value beyond being a husband and provider. The children adjusted to our new dynamic with the resilience kids often show. I made sure our time together was quality, focused entirely on them, without the distraction of trying to please their mother simultaneously. We built Lego cities that took over the family room. We had picnics in the park and movie nights with homemade popcorn. 3 weeks into my transformation, Amanda began to notice the permanent nature of the change. She tried her old tactics, walking around in revealing nightwear, asking for help with simple tasks she could easily handle herself, even crying about work stress one evening, clearly expecting comfort. I remained polite but detached. "That sounds challenging. I am sure you will figure it out." I responded to her work complaints, then returned to reading a story to Jackson. Her confusion was evident. The power dynamic she had established, where I constantly sought her approval and affection, had completely shifted. Now I moved through our shared spaces with calm indifference to her presence, focused on myself and our children. A month after her devastating statement, Amanda tried a new approach. She suggested a date night, something we had not done in months. "I think we need some time to reconnect, Devin. My mother can watch the kids Friday night." "I already have plans Friday," I replied, not offering details about the basketball game I was attending with my brother. "What plans?" she demanded, unused to being denied. "Personal plans," I answered, simply continuing to pack Lily's lunch for school the next day. Amanda began to panic as she realized her backup plan was disintegrating. One evening, she came home early. Something that had not happened in months with takeout from my favorite restaurant. And a bottle of wine. I thanked her politely for the food, ate dinner with her, and the children, then excused myself to take a business call. The final blow came when Amanda found a notification for my appointment with the divorce attorney on our shared computer. She confronted me that night after the children were asleep, tears streaming down her face. "You are seeing a divorce attorney. Were you even going to tell me before serving me papers?" she demanded. "Yes, eventually. I was gathering information first," I replied calmly. "I made a terrible mistake, Devin," she sobbed. "Brian ended things last week. He said he could not handle the guilt of breaking up a family. I realize now what I almost threw away. You and the kids are everything to me. I was just going through something, feeling lost in my role as a wife and mother. Please, can we work this out?" 5 weeks earlier, those words would have been everything I wanted to hear. Now they rang hollow. What exactly changed, Amanda? Did you suddenly realize I am your real match? Or did your better option just disappear? My voice remained calm, but the questions hit their mark. "It was never like that," she insisted, though we both knew it was exactly like that. "I love you. I have always loved you. You specifically said I was not your real match. That you settled for me. Those are not things you say in the heat of the moment. Those are truths that slip out under pressure," I countered. She reached for my hand, which I subtly moved away. "People say things they do not mean during fights. You know that." "Actually, I think people say exactly what they mean during fights. They just regret the honesty afterward." I stood up from the kitchen table where we had been talking. "I will always be a dedicated father to our children, and I am willing to develop a healthy co-parenting relationship with you. But the husband you settled for no longer exists." Her tears continued, but I had become immune to their power. I had spent too many nights crying alone to be moved by her belated remorse. As she begged for another chance, promised therapy, and change, swore her love was real, I finally understood my worth in a way I never had before. I deserved someone who chose me first, not as a safe fallback option. The following weekend, I presented Amanda with divorce papers. She alternated between anger and desperation, accusing me of throwing away our family over one mistake, then begging for forgiveness and understanding. I remained steady in my decision, explaining that while I would always care for her as the mother of my children, the foundation of trust essential for marriage had been irreparably broken. "I need someone who values me for who I am, not what I provide," I told her during one of our more civil conversations about the separation. "And I need to show our children what healthy love and self-respect look like." Staying in a marriage where one person has openly admitted to settling for the other would teach them the wrong lessons about relationships. The divorce proceedings were surprisingly straightforward. We agreed on joint custody, with the children spending weekdays with me and weekends with Amanda, as her work schedule made weekday parenting challenging. We sold the family home, dividing the proceeds to establish separate households. I found a 3-bedroom apartment close to the children's school, while Amanda moved to a luxury condo downtown closer to her office. Creating a new home for Lily and Jackson became my therapy. I involved them in decorating their rooms, letting them choose colors and themes. Lily wanted a space theme with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Jackson chose dinosaurs with wall decals of prehistoric landscapes. The living room became a comfortable space with oversized couches, perfect for movie nights, and a large table for arts and crafts projects. Friends and family rallied around us in unexpected ways. My parents drove up from Portland to help with the move. My sister took the kids for a weekend so I could paint and assemble furniture. Even Amanda's brother, who had always been close to me, offered support and occasional childcare. The first few months were a blur of adjustment and healing. The children had questions I answered honestly, but age-appropriately. "Mommy and Daddy both love you very much, but we are happier living in separate homes now. Some grown-ups work better as friends than as husband and wife." I established new routines and traditions. Sunday morning pancakes became a staple. Wednesday night was board game night. We started a collection of shells and interesting rocks from our weekend hikes, displaying them on a special shelf in the hallway. Slowly, life found a new rhythm. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I met Julia at a parent-teacher conference for Lily's class. She was the kindergarten teacher in the classroom next to Lily's, warm and genuine with a quiet confidence I found immediately attractive. Our conversation after the conference extended to coffee, where I found myself laughing for what felt like the first time in years. Julia had her own story of heartbreak and resilience, having lost her fiancé to cancer 3 years earlier. There was a gentle understanding between us, a recognition of pain survived and wisdom earned. We took things slowly, starting with casual coffee meetings after school, then progressing to lunch dates while the children were with Amanda. The first time I introduced her to Lily and Jackson was at a school carnival, a neutral setting where she was already a familiar face to Lily. The children warmed to her, naturally drawn to her patience and authentic interest in their stories. She never tried to replace their mother, instead establishing her own unique relationship with each of them. Amanda's reaction to Julia was predictably complicated. Initially, she made snide comments during custody exchanges, questioning my judgment in introducing a new person into the children's lives. Later, as she realized my relationship with Julia was becoming serious, she made renewed efforts to reconcile. The children need their parents together, she insisted during one drop-off. The children need happy, healthy parents, whether together or apart, I countered. They are thriving, Amanda. Their teachers have commented on how well they are adjusting. I found a 3-bedroom apartment close to the children's school while Amanda moved to a luxury condo downtown closer to her office. Creating a new home for Lily and Jackson became my therapy. I involved them in decorating their rooms, letting them choose colors and themes. Lily wanted a space theme with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Jackson chose dinosaurs with wall decals of prehistoric landscapes. By becoming exactly the detached co-parent, Amanda claimed, I paradoxically found freedom and authenticity. I rediscovered parts of myself that had been suppressed in my efforts to please someone who could not be satisfied. My relationship with Julia continues to grow, built on mutual respect and genuine compatibility. My children are resilient and loved, and I am at last someone's first choice rather than their practical compromise. A year after her devastating statement that changed everything, I found myself reflecting on the journey while watching Lily and Jackson play at the park with Julia. Amanda had been right about one thing, though not in the way she intended. I was not her real match. I deserved better. And so did she. The most profound lesson from this painful chapter was the importance of valuing myself.